Ladies and gentlemen, let's be real for a second. We live in a world where men believe they know what women want, but 99% of them get it wrong. They copy moves from videos, they rush, they think harder means better, and in the end, she's left unsatisfied and he's left confused. But here's the truth. There are 5 sex moves that make women beg for more. And no, they're not the cliché things you think they are. They are rooted in connection, energy, and the way you make her feel. Let's break it down. Men often believe that intimacy is a performance, a stage where every move has to be executed flawlessly, every touch has to be perfect, and every moment has to look like something out of a movie. But here's the shocking truth. Women don't fall in love with the performance. They fall in love with the connection. Think about it. If intimacy was simply about performance, then every man who copied the same moves would create the same results. But does that ever happen? No, because the real magic lies in how you make her feel, not in how many techniques you can memorize. When a woman is with you, she's not analyzing your skills like a judge scoring a gymnastics routine. She's feeling your energy, your presence, your attention. She's asking herself silently, am I safe with him? Is he here with me? Is he truly tuned into me? If the answer is yes, she opens up. If the answer is no, it doesn't matter how good you think your moves are, she will remain distant, disconnected, and unsatisfied. So why do 99% of men get this wrong? Because they chase the outcome. They're so focused on finishing strong that they forget the journey. They think intimacy is about proving something, showing off, or living up to some imaginary standard. But in reality, the strongest move you can make is slowing down, locking in, and connecting. Let me make this clear. Connection starts long before the bedroom. The way you look at her, the way you listen when she talks, the way you reach for her hand when she's stressed. All of these moments build trust. And trust is the foundation of unforgettable intimacy. Without trust, even the most advanced move will fall flat. With trust, even the simplest touch can feel electric. Have you ever noticed how sometimes a single kiss can feel more powerful than anything else? That's because the kiss is fueled by connection. It's not about technique, it's about presence. When you lean in, when you pause just a second before your lips meet, when you hold her face like she's the most precious thing in the world, that's what makes her heart race. That's what makes her crave more. Performance is external. It's about how things look. Connection is internal. It's about how things feel. And women feel deeply. They're wired to sense authenticity. If you're distracted, insecure, or treating intimacy like a checklist, she feels it immediately. But if you're fully there, tuned into her breath, her body language, her emotions, she feels that too. And guess which one makes her beg for more? Here's where most men fail. They underestimate the power of emotional connection. They believe physical skill is everything. But the truth is, emotional intimacy heightens physical pleasure. When she feels seen, heard, and valued, her body responds in ways you cannot fake. Her walls come down, her energy flows, her desire rises naturally. That's why focusing on connection doesn't just make her happier. It makes the entire experience unforgettable for both of you. Let's take an example. Imagine 2 men. The first man is technically skilled, he knows all the tricks, he's memorized all the moves, but he's disconnected, he's focused on performance. He's thinking, am I doing this right? Will she be impressed? Am I lasting long enough? His energy is in his head, not with her. Now imagine the second man. He might not know every technique, but he's fully present. He's looking at her, listening to her breathing, adjusting to her reactions. He's focused on her pleasure, not his ego. He doesn't rush. He doesn't force. He connects. Who do you think she'll remember? Who will she crave again and again? Without question, it's the second man. Because connection transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences. A simple touch on her back can send shivers down her spine if it's done with presence and intention. A soft kiss on her neck can feel more powerful than hours of mechanical motion if it comes from genuine connection. So the question becomes, how do you build this connection? Start by slowing down. Don't rush to the main event. Tease, play, explore. Let her feel your energy, your breath, your heartbeat. Make her feel like time has stopped and nothing else exists but the two of you. Second, listen. Not just with your ears, but with your eyes and your intuition. Pay attention to her body language. Is she leaning in? Is she holding her breath? Is she trembling slightly? These are signs she's connected with you. And when you respond to those cues, she feels understood without a single word spoken. Third, bring emotional intimacy into the physical. Whisper something in her ear that makes her feel desired, not just physically, but emotionally. Tell her she's beautiful, not just in her body, but in her being. When she feels cherished, her desire intensifies. Finally, remember, connection isn't about perfection. It's about presence. Don't try to perform. Don't overthink. Just be there. When you are truly present, every move becomes powerful because it carries your full energy and intention. So stop chasing performance. Stop trying to impress and start connecting. Because when you focus on connection, something magical happens. She doesn't just enjoy the experience, she craves it. And once she craves you, no technique, no move, no performance could ever compare. Why do most men fail to leave a lasting impression in intimacy? Because they rush. They treat the experience like a race, like something that needs to be finished as quickly as possible. But here's the truth that almost no one tells you. Slow is sexy. Yes, slowness is what makes her body ache for more. What makes her crave your touch even before it fully happens. Women don't desire speed, they desire anticipation, build-up, tension, and the art of being teased until they can't resist anymore. Think about this. When was the last time you ate your favorite meal in 5 bites and felt satisfied? You didn't. The faster you eat, the less you enjoy. But when you slow down, savor every flavor, take in every bite, you enjoy the meal 10 times more. Intimacy works exactly the same way. Here's the problem. 99% of men think going fast equals passion. They think speed equals excitement. But in reality, speed kills desire. Why? Because women are wired differently. For most men, arousal can switch on quickly. But for women, desire is like fire. It starts small, it builds, it spreads, and the more you feed it slowly, the hotter it burns. That's why slowing down is not weakness, it's strength. Slowness shows control, patience, and presence. When you move slow, you show her you're not desperate, you're not rushing, you're in command of the moment. And that sense of control, that makes her melt. Have you ever noticed the way her breath changes when you pause just before a kiss? That tiny delay makes her heart pound. That pause makes her want you more than the kiss itself. Because in that second, she's suspended between desire and fulfillment, and that space creates intensity no amount of speed could ever match. Slow is powerful because it builds anticipation. Every touch, every glance, every whisper has time to land. When you brush your fingers across her skin slowly, she feels every nerve light up. When you kiss her neck gently, with pauses, her imagination fills the silence. What will he do next? Where will he go? How long will he make me wait? That curiosity is irresistible! Most men ruin this by rushing. They skip the build-up and dive straight into action. But that's like skipping the opening of a movie and watching only the last 5 minutes. Sure, you saw the ending, but you missed the journey, the suspense, the excitement. And without that build-up, the ending means nothing. Women thrive on the journey. They want to feel the tension grow, the desire climb, the moment stretch until they can't take it anymore. That's why slowing down is not just sexy, it's essential. But let's go deeper. Why exactly does slow work so well? Because slowness amplifies the senses. When you move slowly, every touch feels stronger. Every kiss feels deeper. Every moment feels more intense. It's like turning up the volume on pleasure. For example, imagine running your hand down her arm. If you rush, it's just a touch. But if you glide your fingers slowly, taking your time, lingering in places, tracing every inch, suddenly that simple touch becomes electrifying. She feels tingles, shivers, goosebumps because slowness gave her body time to react. This is where most men fail. They think passion is about doing more. In reality, passion is about doing less, but doing it with presence. It's about slowing down enough to make every move count. Now let's talk about the psychology behind it. Women often live in fast-paced, stressful worlds, work, responsibilities, pressure, constant rushing. When you slow things down with her, you're offering an escape. You're telling her, without words, you don't have to rush here. Time doesn't exist here. This is about you. And when she feels that, she surrenders completely. But let me ask you, how often do you slow down and truly watch her? Do you look into her eyes and notice how they widen when you pause? Do you listen to the way her breathing quickens when you take your time? These signals tell you everything you need to know. And when you learn to slow down, you'll see those signals come alive. Slowness also builds control. A man who rushes looks like he's out of control, like he can't handle the intensity. But a man who takes his time shows mastery. He shows he's leading, he's in command, he knows exactly what he's doing. That energy is intoxicating to a woman. Another secret, slowness increases confidence. Why? Because only a confident man dares to go slow. A nervous man rushes because he's afraid of losing it. A confident man takes his time because he knows she's already his in that moment. He knows anticipation makes her crave him more. So, how can you practice this? Start by adding pauses. Don't rush from one touch to the next, linger. Don't dive into a kiss, hover, wait, let her lean into you. Don't speed through intimacy, stretch it, savor it. Each pause builds more fire than 10 rush moves ever could. Second, focus on quality, not quantity. Instead of trying to do 100 things fast, do a few things slow. Do them with intention, with presence, with focus. A slow kiss on her shoulder can be more powerful than 5 rushed kisses anywhere else. Third, use your energy. Slowness is not just about movement, it's about vibe. Breathe deeper, move with purpose, hold eye contact. Let her feel that you're not in a hurry, that you're savoring her, that every second with her is exactly where you want to be. When you master slowness, something magical happens. She starts to beg for more. Why? Because anticipation has built up so much, her body and mind are craving release. She wants you to give her what you've been holding back. And when you finally do, it feels 10 times better than if you had rushed. So remember this always, speed is common, but slowness is rare. Anyone can go fast, but it takes a real man to go slow. And when you do, she won't just enjoy it, she'll never forget it. Expanded Keynote 30. Communication is the secret weapon. Most men believe that intimacy is silent, that passion should flow naturally without words. But here's the truth that shocks almost every man who learns it. Communication is the secret weapon. It's not weakness. It's not awkward. It's the single most powerful tool that separates unforgettable lovers from forgettable ones. Think about it. How many men go through their entire lives guessing what a woman wants? They assume, they copy what they saw somewhere, or they hope that one-size-fits-all techniques will work on every partner. But the reality is, every woman is different. Every body reacts differently. Every mind desires differently. Every soul craves something unique. So why do most men keep guessing instead of asking? Because they're afraid. Afraid to look inexperienced. Afraid to ruin the mood. Afraid she'll judge them. But here's the irony. Silence doesn't make you look confident. Silence makes you look disconnected. A man who communicates shows strength, not weakness. He shows that he's not afraid to learn, not afraid to adjust, not afraid to put her pleasure above his ego. And that, my friend, is the most attractive quality a man can have. Let's break this down. Communication in intimacy happens in 3 powerful ways: words, listening, and response. First, words. Sometimes a single sentence can change the entire energy of the moment. Imagine whispering in her ear, "Do you like that?" That's not weakness, that's leadership. You're checking in, you're showing care, you're inviting her to guide you. Women crave this! Why? Because it makes them feel valued. It makes them feel safe to express what they truly want. Or imagine saying, "Tell me what you want." That's confidence. You're not afraid of her answer. You're not afraid of being directed. You're showing her that her voice matters. And trust me, when a woman feels her voice matters in intimacy, her desire skyrockets. Now let's talk about listening. It's not just about hearing words, it's about hearing her body, her breath, her moans, the way her body moves. This is communication too. Most men miss it. They're so focused on the next move that they don't notice the signals right in front of them. But a man who listens with his whole body, who pays attention to the rise and fall of her breathing, to the way she arches her back or grabs his arm, he doesn't need to guess. Her body is telling him everything he needs to know. And then comes response. Communication means nothing if you don't act on it. If she says slower and you keep going fast, you've lost connection. If her body pulls away and you ignore it, you've lost trust. But if she whispers, yes, and you lean into that moment, if she breathes heavier and you deepen the touch, if she says, don't stop, and you hold steady, you've just created magic. Because she feels not only heard, but honored. And that's unforgettable. Here's a fact that most men don't realize: women often hold back their desires because they don't feel safe to express them. Society has conditioned them to stay quiet, to not ask, to not direct. That means the responsibility falls on you to create an environment where communication is natural, safe, and exciting. When you encourage her to speak, When you make her feel that her pleasure matters just as much as yours, she will open up in ways you never imagined. Let's compare two men again. The first one is silent. He never asks, never listens, never responds. He does what he thinks is best and hopes it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, she feels like a passenger in the experience, not a partner. Now imagine the second man. He whispers, he checks in, he listens to her breathing, he adjusts when she reacts. He makes her feel included, connected, and understood. Who do you think she'll crave again? The man who left her silent, or the man who made her feel heard? Communication also builds anticipation. When you whisper, "Do you want more?" You're not just asking, you're teasing. You're making her confess her desire. You're drawing the words out of her, which makes her excitement even stronger. That's the art of communication. It doesn't kill the mood, it creates it. Now let's tackle the myth. But won't talking ruin the passion? No, what ruins passion is disconnect. What ruins passion is guessing wrong. Words, when used with intention, don't interrupt, they intensify. A deep whisper, a playful question, a commanding phrase, it can turn a simple moment into a memory that never fades. But remember this, communication is not just verbal. The way you breathe, the way you groan, the way you sigh, that's communication too. Silence can be powerful, yes, but silence with presence, not silence from fear. When you're quiet, she should feel your energy, your focus, your emotion. That's communication without words. So how can you master this secret weapon? Start small. Don't overcomplicate. Ask her softly, do you like that? Notice her reaction. If her body tenses in pleasure, continue. If she hesitates, adjust. Show her you're paying attention. Second, invite her voice. Say, tell me what you want tonight. Give her permission to speak. The more she sees you welcome her voice, the more confident she becomes in sharing it. Third, respond immediately. If she says, slower, slow down. If she moans louder when you touch a certain way, repeat it. Let her feel that her communication has power. That's how trust deepens. That's how connection grows. Finally, combine words with energy. Don't just ask, say it with presence. Don't just listen, show her you heard. Don't just respond, make it intentional. When you bring all three together, your communication becomes magnetic. At the end of the day, silence is average, but communication is mastery. Words unlock emotions, listening unlocks trust, and response unlocks desire. And when you master this weapon, you won't just satisfy her, you'll make her feel seen, heard, and cherished in ways that 99% of men never even attempt. What separates an ordinary moment from an unforgettable one? It's not the big gestures, not the fancy moves, not the complicated tricks. It's the details, the tiny, almost invisible things that create magic. Most men miss this truth. They're so focused on the main act that they overlook the power of small touches, subtle gestures, and intentional details that transform intimacy into art. Here's the reality. Women remember details. They notice the way you look at them before you kiss. They notice the way your hand lingers on their back when you guide them through a door. They notice the softness in your voice, the way you breathe near their ear, the way you slow down at just the right second. These little things might seem small to you, but to her, they're massive. Why? Because details communicate presence, care, and intention. Let's compare. Imagine a man who rushes into intimacy, straight to the obvious, skipping everything in between. Sure, he gets there, but does she feel special? Does she feel desired? Probably not. Now imagine another man. Before he even kisses her, he brushes her hair away gently, runs his thumb across her cheek, looks deep into her eyes, and lets the silence build. That single detail changes everything. Her body is already alive before the kiss even happens. That's the power of detail. Attention to detail is what makes her say, I don't know what it is about him, but he drives me crazy. Because it's not one big thing, it's dozens of little things woven together that make her feel truly desired. Why do details matter so much? Because details show that you're present. They prove you're not just going through the motions, but actually tuned into her. When you notice the little changes in her breathing, when you feel the way she shifts her body closer, when you pick up on the goosebumps rising on her skin, you're telling her, I see you. I feel you. I'm here with you. That presence is what makes her melt. Think of it like music. A song isn't powerful because of one loud note. It's powerful because of the little pauses, the soft background instruments, the way each detail blends together. Intimacy is the same. Without details, it's just noise. With details, it becomes a masterpiece. Now let's get practical. What details actually matter most? The eyes. Eye contact is one of the most powerful details men overlook. A deep, intentional gaze can speak louder than 100 words. Looking at her while touching her shows vulnerability, desire, and presence. Women crave that because it makes the moment real. The hands. How often do men underestimate the power of their hands? A slow graze down her arm, a hand on her waist, fingers tangled in her hair. These small touches ignite her senses. Done with intention, your hands become more powerful than any move you've ever learned. The voice. Your voice is a detail that changes everything. Lower your tone, slow your pace, whisper with control. A single word in the right moment can flood her body with chills. When you whisper, "You're mine," or "Don't move," in a commanding yet tender tone, you're not just speaking, you're creating sensation through sound. The timing, the pauses, the moments when you don't rush, those are details too. A pause before a kiss, a hesitation before a touch, a playful delay before giving her what she craves. All of this builds anticipation. And anticipation is the heartbeat of desire. Even the environment is a detail. Clean sheets, dim lights, music playing softly in the background, all of it tells her you thought ahead, you prepared, you cared enough to set the stage. These things may feel small, but to her, they scream, "You matter?" Now here's the truth. Details aren't about perfection. They're about awareness. You don't need to memorize a checklist. You just need to pay attention. What does she react to most? Does she shiver when you touch her neck? Does she sigh when you whisper close? Does she smile when you pause and tease her longer? Those are the details to lean into. Men who ignore details are forgettable. Men who master them become addictive. Because once she feels what it's like to be with a man who notices, who adjusts, who lingers, who adds layers of care to every move, she'll never want to go back. Think about this. When she tells her friends about you, she won't say, "He knew 5 great techniques." She'll say, "The way he touched me, the way he looked at me, the way he made me feel like I was the only woman in the world." That's detail. That's magic. And here's the kicker. Details work outside the bedroom too. Sending her a message during the day, remembering her favorite song, touching her lower back when you walk together. These small gestures fuel desire before intimacy even begins. By the time you're alone, she's already halfway consumed by you. So why do 99% of men miss this? Because they're focused on themselves. They're thinking about performance, about lasting longer, about doing it right. Meanwhile, the 1% are tuned into her. They're listening, noticing, and amplifying every signal. And that's why she remembers them forever. At the core, attention to detail isn't just about technique. It's about presence. It's about seeing her fully, feeling her fully, being there fully. When you do that, every moment, every touch, every kiss becomes art. And in that art, you create magic, magic so powerful she won't just enjoy it, she'll crave it again and again. Every man is searching for the secret move, the hidden trick, the magic formula that will make a woman beg for more. But here's the truth most men never understand. Confidence beats any move. You can know 100 techniques, but if you don't bring confidence into the moment, none of them will matter. On the other hand, you can know only a handful of moves, but if you perform them with deep confidence, you'll stand out more than the rest. Why? Because confidence is energy. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you do it. And women feel energy more than action. A confident man could kiss her hand, and it would feel more powerful than another man trying his hardest with everything he knows. Confidence transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. But let's get clear, confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is pretending you know everything, ignoring her needs, and acting like her pleasure is guaranteed just because you showed up. Confidence is the opposite. Confidence is rooted in presence, in self-assurance, in leading with certainty while still caring about her experience. A confident man doesn't have to prove himself. His energy proves it for him. Think about this. When a man enters a room with quiet confidence, everyone notices. He doesn't shout. He doesn't try too hard. He carries himself like he belongs. That same energy, when carried into intimacy, is magnetic. A woman can feel instantly whether you're confident or insecure. She feels it in the way you touch her, the way you kiss her, the way you breathe around her. Confidence in intimacy means you're not rushing. You're not second-guessing. You're not trapped in your head wondering, am I doing this right? Does she like it? Am I good enough? Because those thoughts don't just stay in your head, they show in your body language, your hesitation, your tension. And she feels it instantly. On the other hand, when you're confident, you move with intention. Every touch feels deliberate. Every kiss feels sure. Every pause feels like you're in complete control of the moment. And when she feels your certainty, she relaxes. She lets go. She trusts you to lead her into deeper desire. That's why confidence is the most powerful aphrodisiac a man can bring. Let's go deeper. What builds true confidence in intimacy? First, confidence comes from preparation. Not memorizing moves, but knowing yourself. If you've taken the time to understand your own body, your own rhythm, your own desires, you'll never feel lost. Self-awareness breeds confidence. Second, confidence comes from presence. When you're fully in the moment, not distracted by worries or fears, your energy is calm and assured. She feels that. She feels that your mind isn't somewhere else, that your attention is completely on her. That focus is intoxicating. Third, confidence comes from control. Not control over her, but control over yourself. The man who can slow down, who can pace himself, who can stretch the moment without rushing. He shows he's in charge of his energy, and nothing turns a woman on more than a man who's in control of himself while focusing fully on her. Now let's look at the opposite. What happens when confidence is missing? She feels hesitation. She feels doubt. She feels you holding back, not because you're teasing, but because you're unsure. And that kills desire faster than anything else. Because if you're unsure of yourself, how can she trust you with her body, her emotions, her vulnerability? Here's the irony. Most men think they need to fake confidence to succeed, but faking only works for a moment. Women are too intuitive. They can sense the difference between real confidence and bravado. Real confidence is calm, steady, unshakable. Fake confidence is loud, forced, and shallow. Which one do you think she'll crave again? Let's paint a picture. Two men approach the same woman in intimacy. The first man is skilled technically but nervous. His touch hesitates, his kiss feels rushed, his movements are inconsistent. She senses his self-doubt, and it pulls her out of the moment. The second man may not be as technically advanced, but he touches her with purpose, looks into her eyes without fear, moves slowly and surely. His energy is confident. Which man leaves her breathless? Every time, it's the second. Because confidence is not about perfection, it's about conviction. It's not about doing everything right. It's about making her feel that whatever you're doing is exactly what you want to do, and you're leading with certainty. Confidence also ties directly into communication. A man without confidence is afraid to ask, afraid to check in, afraid to listen. But a confident man, he asks without fear, he invites her voice. He adapts without hesitation. And when he does, she feels his strength even more. Because true confidence is not about always knowing. It's about being unafraid to learn. Another truth, confidence is sexy because it removes pressure. When you're confident, she doesn't feel like she has to perform for you or reassure you or carry the moment. Your energy tells her, I've got this. Relax, enjoy. And that's when she surrenders fully, because she knows she's safe in your presence. So how do you build that unshakable confidence? Start with your mindset. Stop thinking of intimacy as a test. It's not about passing or failing. It's about connection. When you remove the pressure to prove yourself, your confidence rises naturally. Next, practice presence. Slow down. Breathe deeper. Pay attention to her responses instead of your doubts. When you focus on her instead of your insecurities, your energy shifts instantly. Finally, trust yourself. Don't second-guess every move. If you kiss her, kiss with conviction. If you touch her, touch with intention. If you pause, hold the silence boldly. When you act with certainty, even the simplest action feels powerful. At the end of the day, confidence isn't just a trait, it's the foundation. Without it, even the best moves fall flat. With it, even the smallest gesture can make her melt. That's why confidence doesn't just beat any move. It is the move. So many men chase techniques. They search endlessly for the top 5 moves, the perfect positions, the secret tricks that promise to make a woman beg for more. But here's the undeniable truth. It's not about 5 moves. It's about mastery of presence. You can memorize every move in the world, but if you're not present, if you're not fully there with her, none of it matters. Presence is the ultimate move. Presence is the ability to shut out the noise in your head, silence the distractions of the world, and give her your full, undivided attention. And when a woman feels your presence, when she feels you're not just touching her body, but connecting with her soul, that's when intimacy becomes unforgettable. Think about this. How many men touch a woman without really being there? They're distracted. They're overthinking. They're caught up in their own worries. Am I good enough? Am I lasting long enough? Am I doing it right? But guess what? Every one of those thoughts pulls you further away from her. She feels that distance. She feels when your mind is elsewhere. And in that moment, no move, no technique, no trick can save the connection. But when you're present, something magical happens. You notice the way her breath changes. You feel the subtle tremble in her body. You sense the rhythm of her energy. You're not thinking about yourself. You're flowing with her. And that flow, that's what turns her on more than anything else. Presence is powerful because it communicates value. When you're fully present, you're telling her without words, you matter. Right now, nothing else exists but you. Do you realize how rare that is for a woman to feel? Most of the time, people are half present, half distracted. But when she feels you're all in, every part of her lights up. Presence also builds trust. A woman will only surrender completely when she feels safe. Safety doesn't come from muscles, money, or fancy moves. It comes from knowing you're right there with her, tuned into her every response. When she feels your presence, she lets go, she opens up, she gives herself fully because she knows you're not just taking, you're sharing the moment with her. Now let's break it down. What does mastery of presence look like in practice? It starts with slowing down your mind. Stop planning your next move while you're still in the first one. Stop worrying about what's coming next. Presence means being where you are, not where you're going. If you're kissing her lips, don't think about the next step. Be there. Feel the softness, the warmth, the energy. When you slow your mind, she feels your focus. Second, it's about listening with your senses. Presence means tuning into the signals she's giving you. Her breath, her moans, the way her body shifts. These are her words. Are you hearing them? Or are you too lost in your head to notice? A man who's present doesn't need to guess. He listens, he feels, he adjusts. Third, it's about energy alignment. Presence is not just physical, it's energetic. When you're present, your energy syncs with hers. You match her pace, her rhythm, her vibe. Sometimes that means slowing down when she's building up. Other times it means intensifying when she's craving more. It's a dance. And you can only dance when you're truly tuned in. And finally, presence is about emotional connection. A present man isn't afraid to show emotion. He looks into her eyes, he whispers what he feels. He lets her see that he's not just performing, he's experiencing her. That authenticity is irresistible, because it's real and women crave what's real. But here's the thing. Presence takes practice. It's easy to get lost in your head, to let doubts or distractions creep in. So how do you build mastery of presence? Start with awareness. Before intimacy even begins, ground yourself. Breathe. Clear your mind. Remind yourself, this moment is not about perfection, it's about connection. That shift alone will make you more present. Next, practice focus. When you're with her, don't let your mind wander to work, stress, or worries. Catch yourself when you drift and bring yourself back to her. Look at her. Touch her with intention. Listen with your whole body. Every time you do, you strengthen your ability to stay present. And here's a secret. Presence doesn't just transform her experience, it transforms yours too. When you're fully present, you stop chasing outcomes. You stop worrying about performance. You enjoy every second. You feel every sensation more deeply. Intimacy becomes not just something you do, but something you experience. And that joy, that authenticity radiates from you. She feels it. She feeds off it. And together, you create something unforgettable. So ask yourself, what will she remember more? The specific moves you tried, or the way you made her feel completely seen, completely desired, completely consumed by your presence? Every time it's the latter, because presence is not just another move. It's the foundation that makes every move work. Without presence, even the best technique feels empty. With presence, even the simplest touch feels electric. That's the difference. That's why presence is the true secret, the move beyond moves. And once you master it, you don't just satisfy her, you become unforgettable. Because women don't crave perfect moves. They crave the man who makes them feel like time stopped, like nothing else exists, like they're the only person in the world in that moment. That's presence. That's mastery. That's the real magic.